Brandon Allen over Joshua Dobbs. The Niners needed to start a quarterback. Brock Purdy's out. They don't know when he's coming back. They hope he comes back next week. They went with Brandon Allen. Why? Well, we heard reports that they were hoping that maybe Brandon Allen would open up the deep passing game, or that his style of play, sort of a stationary quarterback with a stronger arm, would maybe unlock the whole scheme. And it would allow the scheme to shine in ways that maybe Brock Purdy wasn't, because Brock Purdy was doing so much scrambling all year, so much ad-libbing, that maybe Allen would allow the scheme to do what it's supposed to do. So that's why he started over Joshua Dobbs, who doesn't know the scheme as well, hasn't been here as long, and is more prone to scramble and make plays outside of the structure of the play design. So this was Kyle Shanahan betting on himself, on his own scheme. And, to Allen's credit, he made some really nice throws. I felt like it took Kyle Shanahan maybe a quarter to get a feel for how to call plays for Brandon Allen, because he's a much different passer than Brock Purdy. And it was like, the throws over the middle aren't going to be good for Brandon Allen. He doesn't have the same anticipation as Purdy, and the Packers were packing the middle of the field. So Kyle adjusted and started calling throws to the sideline, particularly to the right. And Brandon Allen did really good with that stuff. So that was good. He threw pretty well. He did better than I would expect him to do, considering he hadn't started in 3 years. But he had a splint on his non-throwing hand, on his middle finger on his non-throwing hand. And that's strange to me. He was on the injury report a few weeks ago with a finger injury. I didn't realize. But starting a quarterback who's rusty, hasn't started in 3 years. Dobbs started a bunch of games last year, not nearly as rusty. And a guy with a broken finger, that's a choice. That certainly is a choice. And I'm not trying to be, I'm not trying to criticize Kyle in hindsight. But beforehand, if you had known, this quarterback hasn't played in 3 years and he has a broken finger, you're going to say, like, well, how's he going to do when he gets hit? He hasn't really gotten hit in 3 years. Plus, he can't necessarily hold on to the ball like he normally would. So is he going to fumble tonight? If so, how many times? And the answer was twice. And he lost one of them, and that was a big difference in the game. So in retrospect, starting a partially injured quarterback with a messed up finger who ended up fumbling twice, bad choice. Now, if Purdy had started and been 100% healthy, I'm not sure the Niners would have won this game anyway. They made a lot of mistakes on defense and special teams, and they didn't play the right running back, which I'm going to get into in a minute. But I do think Joshua Dobbs would have given the Niners a better chance to win. I mean, what I saw from Brandon Allen, beyond the questionable ball security with his 9 fingers, was a guy who really couldn't do much in the pocket when there were bodies around him. It's pretty heavy-footed. Like, he makes Jimmy Garoppolo look like Brock Purdy. He was the biggest statue the Niners have had in the pocket since Brian Hoyer. Not exactly a playmaker, doesn't have a great feel getting away from pass rushers. So, I don't know. It seems like I could see he would do really well in practice. I could see why Kyle Shanahan thought that he would give him the best chance to win, but he was wrong. Should have went with Joshua Dobbs. That was a coaching mistake. And it's hard for me to really come down hard on Brandon Allen for his interception. I mean, the interception was not his fault. It was a good pass over the middle to Deebo Samuel. Kyle, why are you calling passes over the middle to Deebo Samuel? Because when he drops it, which is like a 50% chance at this point, and it gets tipped, if it's over the middle, it's intercepted. If it's by the sideline and it's tipped, it's incomplete. So I can't really blame Brandon Allen for that one. Like, it was a bad play call. The throws over the middle weren't working all game. Go to the sideline. And why are you targeting Deebo Samuel? Yes, I'm bouncing up and down because I don't get it. So I don't want to blame Brandon Allen for the loss. I thought he did better than I expected, and I thought he competed out there. But 2 fumbles can't happen. And in retrospect, it was predictable with a broken finger. Got to take that seriously. I mean, it was raining. It was cold. Ball security was going to be an issue. You played a guy with 9 fingers. 10 is better than 9 when it comes to digits. Cameron Ezel says, can someone tell Deebo he's playing football, not volleyball? Ooh. Don't know if it was just me, but it looked like Kyle couldn't properly answer your question as to why he started Allen with the broken finger. He hates me. I thought it was a fair question. Now, I didn't know that Allen was on the Injury report week 10 with the finger. I missed that because he was the backup at the time. I'm not thinking about it. So my fault on that one, but like still, you started a quarterback who's injured and he fumbled twice. And why was that the right call? Grant, you're the man for asking Kyle Shanahan my question. I tried, he didn't answer it. Nathan Flores says the team was really pissed off after last week. They talked about it, right? KOSZG says Dobbs should have started in McCaffrey bench for Mason. Kyle makes horrible decisions. Fire Kyle. Peter says Kyle finally putting Mason in when the game was already over was wildly embarrassing. Look, I don't understand what that was about, but it almost felt like he was this is irresponsible to say. But he couldn't end the game with McCaffrey having 2.8 yards per carry and a fumble and Mason having one carry for 16 yards. Couldn't happen. So he got 2 more and went nowhere, and all of a sudden doesn't look so bad in the box score that Mason didn't play. I don't know. Peter says Kyle finally putting Mason in when the game was already over was wildly embarrassing. Yes, Jason Lutz. It's only one figure. He got 9 more. He's ready to go. KOSEG says Debo's useless. Jacob Lawrence says thank you for all the hard work you put into the content you provide. Help me get through deployments in the military. Keep me in you. Do what I can. Thank you very much, Jacob. I appreciate that. That means a lot. Bob Oso831 says, has anybody pressed Kyle as to why Mason isn't getting any more touches? I think people gave up a couple of weeks ago. He won't answer that question. Gregory Young says, time to change the regime and do a teardown. Kyle has lost this team. They're not playing as a team. Another year or two will not change that. The door is closed for good. Time to start over. They did get manhandled in this game. Dante Whitner said it. Matt Mayoko said it. When Matt Mayoko's asking about getting manhandled at the post-game press conference, that's not a good sign. Oot Now says, to see Kyle get upset was crazy work. What'd you expect? Should Mason get cut for making CMC look bad, says Jason. Yeah, get out of here. Isn't it nice that the Niners are preserving Mason and keeping him fresh for his next team? That is so generous for whoever signs Jordan Mason.